Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I'm recording all my videos for the weekend. Tonight, it's Friday night. Because tomorrow my wife put together a relay for life and I want to support her on that. We're going to be doing a 12-hour walk. So I don't think I'll be coming home and making XRP content, but I'll definitely put together something for Sunday as well. So we're looking at XRP on the one-day chart, sitting here just under 52 cents. And if you look at the one-year chart, we've been stuck in this price range ever since April 14th. That's how long we've been stuck between 50 and 55 cents. And I know that is definitely getting frustrating for some people. But let me tell you something. What's coming next is going to be absolutely incredible. And everybody knows it's coming this year. Ripple user Flutterwave Messaging has received a payment aggregator license in Mozambique, allowing expansion into southern Africa. You know, these are the payment rails that XRP is going to run on in the future. And you know, if you look at the mapping on this, Ripple is set up in almost every single country throughout the world. That's why I said Ripple is now a global company. And if it's not Ripple directly, it's always partners of Ripple. That's why I'm always so excited on where we go from here. The Spanish central bank has launched a third trial for its wholesale central bank digital currency, focusing on a native digital bond. The CBDC and the digital bond will be issued on the same infrastructure. So Spain's central bank is now moving into the third wholesale CBDC trial. Like I said, this is coming all throughout the world. The world is pushing into the digital age. And you know, you're going to be prepared for that. You could get very rich because of that. This is the current step-by-step process of Ripple payments. As of now, in the future, providers will need to source XRP from liquidity hubs or the public supply. I think at first we're going to see the escrow get swallowed up into these massive liquidity pools. But then once that escrow's gone, they are going to be hitting the public supply. The big institutions are going to be buying as you're selling. And that's the future I see for XRP. This could also push the price of XRP to some very high prices. And this is what's coming. But it's building out right in front of you in real time. And that's what I showed you for the last 2 years. All those announcements are leading us into this. Ripple, XRP FAM, Ripple tokenized deposits, essentials, and impact. Tokenized bank deposits represent a groundbreaking fusion of traditional banking with blockchain technology, ushering in a new paradigm in financial transactions. As banks and distributed ledger technology firms collaborate, they are exploring the potential of being regulated liabilities such as commercial and central bank money and e-money onto blockchain networks. This synergy could revolutionize payment systems, introducing always-on programmable instant transaction settlement capabilities to replace outdated payment infrastructures, the bridge to digital money. And as we push ahead, we're going to see crypto and the payment system come together at the same time. This is where Ripple will continue to steal business away from SWIFT. But tokenized deposits can actually save the banks. And the banks, we know they're in trouble right now. And things aren't looking good going forward. This can solve the problem at the banks. But all they have to do is allow the banks to hold crypto. But now it looks like that SAB 121 bill got vetoed by the president. I think they want the banks to fail. I think that's part of their plan. Consolidate the banks. It's going to be easier to get them tied in with the CBDC. I've been saying that for a long time now. Status of banks. Unrealized losses in Q1 worsened after brief rate cut mania relief. In Q1 2024, unrealized losses on securities held by commercial banks increased by $39 billion, or by 8.1% from Q4, to a cumulative loss of $517 billion. These unrealized losses amount to 9.4% of the $5.47 trillion in securities held by those banks, according to today's FDIC's quarterly bank data for Q1. And that's why I said, no matter what the Treasury tries to tell you, Janet Yellen, that the banks are safe, the banks are not safe. They could fix the problem right now through tokenization, allowing the banks to also custody digital assets. Imagine what kind of solutions they could come up with. Imagine people going into the bank and being offered crypto going forward, or maybe even stable coins, but that's not what they want. Ripple's vision is to integrate people who are excluded from the global economy. Take a listen to this.
Essentially, it's the portal allowing us to bring traditional financial markets, which at the core are still really stuck in the pre-internet era, full of red tape, onto blockchain networks, which are global out of the gate and significantly more efficient. If you think about it, there's over $1 quadrillion worth of financial assets that exists today in the world. They take days to settle and weeks to get issued, and 20% of the world population doesn't even have access to them. Now just imagine what it means to the global economy in terms of productivity, but also prosperity to everyone, if we find ways to operate just 10% more efficiently.
Now think about that. They could also fix the unbanked problem at the same time through tokenization. You know, we're not going to see the rise of a new financial system until every person in the world has access to a bank account. They're not going to create a new system and still leave people behind. It's just not going to happen. And I think that's what's taking the most time. Getting rails set up inside those smaller countries and third world countries as well. But we are getting closer and closer every day, because every day there's new announcements around new rails opening up in this country or between these two countries. And it's a great time to be in crypto. We're early, we're lucky, we're buying XRP cheap right now. And once it finally does skyrocket in price, we're all going to get very rich. Ripple payments, digital assets such as XRP enable faster, more reliable, and more affordable cross-border transactions. The time-consuming, cost-intensive, and frictional Nostro Vostro system becomes obsolete and is replaced by Ripple payments. Remember the Nostro Vostro accounts? If you're an XRP holder for any period of time, you've always heard of Nostro Vostro. Ripple was always talking about unlocking Nostro Vostro. But I think Ripple is looking to replace it. What are they going to replace it with? Massive liquidity pools. $10,000 per XRP is possible. So when you look at this, you see XRP, Ripple versus global transfer markets. This was all the way back in February of 2018. And you see the global transfer market, $27 trillion. And the Nostro Vostro bank accounts is the accounts that Ripple wants to unlock. But now it looks like they're shifting that narrative. Ripple is changing what they're looking at. Now they just want to replace it completely. Here's Brad Garlinghouse talking about Nostro Vostro. Take a listen.
So give me a specific example of who's going to use it. So one of the things we've always said is I don't think banks will be the first customers. We've talked about payment providers, and so we have run pilots out there with the MoneyGrams, Western Unions, Mercury FX, Qualix, a couple of others, and those are payment providers that have massive treasury operations. Using one random example, you have a payment provider that has hundreds of millions of dollars of negative working capital because they've taken their dollars or their pesos and they've pre-funded and they've pre-funded the accounts, so they go into Mexico. Once a week, let's say, they'll wire $10 million to Mexico and then debit along the way. Now, sometimes they overfund, sometimes they underfund. The ability to have real-time liquidity is transformational. The global pre-funded, what are called Nostro, Vostro relationships, it represents something on the order of magnitude $10 trillion. If we can make that more efficient and more useful, we can actually accelerate the engine of commerce kind of on a global basis.
So originally, I thought it was $27 trillion. Brad said it represents $10 trillion. But I think that amount will change over time as more liquidity is needed. But beyond Nostro Vostro, you also got to look at tokenized value also that's coming into these networks. That also has to move from point A to point B. Then you bring in the carbon credits market, which is going to start to ramp up over time. That's going to be in the trillions as well. Then there's going to be custody, and there's going to be value in custody. There's value in data. There's so many aspects that are going to play a role in the price of XRP. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to see a $10,000 XRP in the coming years, like I'm talking over the next 2-3 years. However, I think 589 is definitely achievable. And the reason I say that is because once we see ISO go live all throughout the world, I think that's going to bring us into the period where Ripple actually does unlock all of that liquidity. And that right there would push the price very fast. Do I think we could get to 4 digits by 2027? Of course, we could get to 4 digits next year. We don't know. So that's why I never dismiss what people say when they're giving price predictions. I always said, let's get to $1 first, but you got to look at how big this is actually becoming. And the reason I wanted to talk about Nostro Vostro is because it's in line with what I was thinking all along with the liquidity pools and XRP being locked up inside those pools, creating a massive demand for XRP. I think we're thinking too small when we look at market cap in previous cycles, is what I'm saying. Because what I'm seeing is way bigger than any narrative that's going on around XRP. Everybody's focused on IPOs and ETFs. I'm focused on the payment sector. I'm focused on that on-demand liquidity. And I'm focused on what the utility is for XRP. That's where the high prices are going to come from. And it's coming because every single day I'm seeing new rails getting put in place. I'm seeing the way banks talk about XRP and Ripple. I see how the IMF talks about it and so on. And when I tell you to follow the money, what I'm saying is Brad is going after all the money. And you, as an XRP investor, you're in line to follow all the money. Because when Ripple pivoted, they pivoted in the right way. They pivoted towards tokenization and custody and carbon credits. And even the projects building out on the XRP ledger is geared towards tokenization. It's geared towards payments as well. So you see what Ripple is going for. And I think we will most likely see that happen starting second half this year, going all throughout 2025 into 2026. And year over year, I think that value is going to grow at the same time, pushing the price of XRP higher and higher. That's my thoughts on Nostro Vostro. The other reason I talked about this is a lot of people in the comment section said, what about Nostro Vostro? Nobody talks about it. Well, I just gave you my opinion on it. Until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.